everyone, welcome to Belle's Books. I'm Carly and today I'm bringing you a book haul from Hay-on-Wye. As in, these are the books that I bought from Hay-on-Wye, not where I am right now, because as you can see, I'm back at home. So I went on a little holiday to Wales this past week, and on the first day we drove up to Hay-on-Wye, which is one of my favourite places in the world, and we spent a few hours book shopping, and I got a nice little haul. So I'm going to talk to you about the books that I got here. I will also say that when you go to Hay, if you've not been there before, they have these little maps of all the booksellers that are in the town. If you don't know, Hay-on-Wye is a town of bookshops, and there are 24 bookshops in Hay. They also have a literary festival. I think it happens around May time, but I've never been during the festival, and I love it as a place to visit, obviously because it has a lot of bookshops. I did notice this time that actually there were more bookshops that were, well, there were new bookshops selling new books at full price that I'd not seen before. So I haven't been there in a long time, a good few years. But my favourites are the bookshops that sell second-hand and remainders for cheaper prices. And that's what I think is great about Hay. So my favourite bookseller in Hay-on-Wye is Addyman's, and they have several different shops. So there's like the Book Passage, the Addyman's Annex, different shops around the town, but they are the best, I think, for discount books. And they're the ones that I went into first, so I'm going to show you what I bought from Addyman's there. I got Under Milkwood by Dylan Thomas, because you can't go to Wales and not pick up Dylan Thomas. I've never read any Dylan Thomas, and this is the epitome of Welsh literature. And as you can see, I got this for a very good price of £4.99, and it is a new copy, so a very nice Wordsworth Classic edition. And this has Under Milkwood, which is a play. It has quite an extensive introduction by the look of it, and Portrait of the Artist as a Young Dog, which is a collection of short stories. Now, I know nothing about this other than it is a portrait of Welshness. That's what I've always understood it to be, and any Welsh author will always talk about Dylan Thomas as the, you know, the eponymous Welsh author. So I'm looking forward to reading this now that I'm back at home, and I miss Wales incredibly. So I'm glad that I picked this up. So that was my first purchase. The second was a book I've been looking out for ages, because so many people have been talking about it in the kind of genre that I'm interested in, and that's The Historian by Elizabeth Kostova. This is a historical fiction that feels like Dracula meets The Secret History. And that just sounds all kinds of great to me. This is a perfect book for autumn. I'm putting it on my autumn TBR. And again, it's a new copy. It only has damage because I dropped it just now, and that's my fault. But yeah, a beautiful copy. And it just sounds incredible. I'm going to read you the little bit of the blurb. So it says, late one night, exploring her father's library, a young woman finds an ancient book in a cachet of yellowing letters addressed ominously to my dear and unfortunate successor. Her discovery plunges her into a world she never dreamed of, a labyrinth where the secrets of her father's past and her mother's mysterious fate connect into an evil hidden in the depths of history. Sounds great. Like I said, I've been wanting to read this for ages, and it's a very autumnal book, so I'm glad I managed to pick up a copy of that. I had like a list in my head of books that I was trying to find in Hay. Some of them I didn't find, which was surprising to me, because you can pretty much get anything in Hay-on-Wye, but you got to go with it and pick up what you can when you get there. I also got this very small Penguin special edition of On Anarchism by Noam Chomsky for an excellent £3.95. This is again a new book, and the thing that I love about Addyman's is that they tend to buy in bulk loads of copies of the same book, which is why they can then sell them at a reduced price. If you're looking for like the nice copies of classics, like they had a bunch of, now I've forgotten the name of it, but they had like loads of Jane Austen and the Brontes in those beautiful hardback pretty covers, and they were selling them for about like £8 when actually they retail around 16. So that's a good tip. So this is a non-fiction, a book from the scholar Noam Chomsky, who I respect very much, about anarchism, which I'm very much on board with at the moment, guys. So this is a very short read, and yeah, I'm just here for this kind of non-fiction right now, with the state of the world being as it is. Okay, now let me go back to my 2 large books that I bought. This was from the Cinema Bookshop, which is an old cinema turned into a bookshop. So it has a ton of books in there, and you can find some great books for very reasonable prices. And I went to the art section and I got 2 books on artists that I'm interested in at the moment. So I got this book on William Blake, The Painter at Work. This is a Tate Museum publication, edited by Joyce Townsend, and this is about William Blake's paintings. Now, I was looking for books that contain colour images of these artists' paintings, and that's what this is. So it has, if I can just show you, some colour images of the paintings, which I'm really interested in learning about at the moment. I don't know much about William Blake, and it's on my list of things that I'm interested in learning. So yeah, this book is about his painting process, his materials. It seems very technical, which may be a bit more than I wanted, but I'm here for looking at the images and yeah, learning a bit more about his painting, because he's such an iconic painter. Yeah, just is really interesting to me at the moment. I go through fads and wanting to learn about various different things. William Blake is my current obsession. And from the Cinema Bookshop, I got this book on Leonardo da Vinci. In a similar vein, I am also interested in Leonardo da Vinci at the moment. Again, for his artwork and as a thinker. So Blake and da Vinci are both interesting to me in that they operated in spheres of art and literature, and for Leonardo da Vinci in technology and science and all sorts of things. I'm just interested in them as thinkers and creatives. And so this book by Carlo Pedretti, it's got one of those beautiful plastic covers on, has again artwork in colour images. Oh wait, the postcard is falling out. Colour images and detail about the works. Also, there was this postcard inside that was written to somebody that must have owned this book. I love finding postcards in books. It's such a great piece of ephemera. This postcard says, "Dear Robert, thank you so much for the cheque. I fear the Whitaker went off to auction some time ago. I'm sorry. With every good wish, Matthew." What was this about? Robert was trying to buy the Whitaker? What was the Whitaker? What happened to it? Was Matthew an antique seller? I don't know. Love it. Anyway, yeah, this book is incredible and has some beautiful images in it, and I'm hoping to learn a lot about Leonardo da Vinci. So I was super pleased with those. Those books came in at £9 for the Leonardo and £8 for the Blake. And again, if you're buying those new, that would have been a lot more money. Okay, and then, so those are all the books that I bought in Hay. And we were staying near Brecon, and there is an excellent bookshop that is also listed in here in Brecon, called Brecon Books, that is like one of the Hay-on-Wye bookshops. So I would also recommend you, if you're swinging by Brecon, to call into that bookshop, because it's incredible. It actually looks like my room. It's got books piled up everywhere, but the guy that works there knows exactly what he's got in his stock. It's incredible. So these books I bought from his shop, and let's stay on brand, I bought a little pamphlet of William Blake's poetry, Songs of Innocence. I really like this old copy. Look, when this came out, it was 70p. How times have changed. I paid £1.50 for it, so I was very pleased with this bargain. And this has if I just show you, it's got the actual like facsimiles of the poetry, beautiful pictures in there, which I love, and then the poems in print at the back. I just really enjoyed the way that that was put together with the images and the poems. So yeah, I'm glad this is going to go into my William Blake research. Then, oh, and another one. I'm not obsessed. William Blake, A Literary Life by John Beer. And this is about his literary work. So as well as looking at his art, I'm interested in kind of researching his literary influence and output. So I think this is Palgrave Macmillan, so this is maybe a bit more academic, but I'm just really missing academic research, guys, can you tell? So I'm just going on a tangent of things that I'm interested in looking at for my personal curriculum. So looking forward to delving into this. So I've got my nice research books there. Also, I found this excellent book, Remains of Elmet, Poems by Ted Hughes, Photographs by Faye Godwin. This is a beautiful collection with a picture on one side by Faye Godwin and then a poem on the other side by Ted Hughes. And the thing that the pictures are all black and white. The thing that drew me to this book was that it has several poems about Yorkshire, about the Moors, about the Brontes. There's one called Top Withens. And if I can find it, there is. If I'm going to be honest, the reason I bought this book was because it has a poem called The Sluttiest Sheep in England, which I really enjoy. I just think that's hilarious. So yeah, there you go. The Sluttiest Sheep in England. That is apparently what it looks like. And I'm just really interested in this premise of collaboration between two creative people. So Faye provided the photos and then Ted Hughes wrote the poems, and I really like that as a premise and collaboration. I was reading about collaborative creative process while I was on holiday, and I'm just interested in it as a practice. So yeah, just thought this was a really cool book, and I got this for £4. I also picked up a copy of Ted Hughes's birthday letters. I'm not a massive Ted Hughes fan. My heart lies with Sylvia Plath, but as I've recently read The Bell Jar and been doing a little bit of research about Sylvia Plath's life, I felt like I wanted then to read Ted's response, which is the birthday letters. As I understand it, this collection was published after she died by suicide, and it is his response, as far as I'm aware, to her, and yeah, and their very fraught relationship of him cheating on her. So I'm interested in the biographical aspect of these poems. I know that they're a lot more than that, and they are kind of poems in their own right, but I am reading it with that in mind. I'm just interested in what he has to say for himself, to be honest. And then Dan found this for me, this book, which I have seen before. It's a fiction. It's called Daphne by Justine Picardie, and it is about Daphne du Maurier. And if you watch my previous videos, you know that Rebecca is my favourite book of all time. I've recently reread it, and this is a fiction about Daphne du Maurier, and I'm always a little bit wary of fictions that are written about authors. I recently read the one about Emily Bronte, 15 Wild Decembers by Karen Powell, and I didn't like it so much because it was taking a real life person and and treating them as a fictional character, and you're kind of like making assumptions, or you're putting things on that real life person that didn't happen, and I don't know how I feel about that sometimes. So I'm going into this with some trepidation, but the premise sounds really interesting. So it's set in 1957. It says the author Daphne du Maurier is beautiful, famous, despairs as her marriage falls apart, because I've also been reading the Rebecca notebooks by Daphne du Maurier, which is her non-fiction essays about her own creative process. I know her, I've read her biography by Margaret Forster, so I know quite a lot about Daphne du Maurier's life, and I'm interested to see what this author does with this yeah, with her as a character. So it's set in Menabilly in Cornwall. I'm very much here for that because I've got the feeling of bereftness after finishing Rebecca, and I would love to be back in Cornwall. So I'm very much here for the setting and the place and the character. And it's about when she started writing about Branwell Bronte. So she wrote a biography of Branwell, which I haven't read yet. I've got it on the shelf behind me. And Daphne du Maurier always kind of got obsessed with her subject while she was writing it. And again, I'm here for finding out about authors' creative practice, and so this kind of riffs on that, on her obsession with Branwell and writing that biography. Then we have a dual timeline in this book, and it says, in present-day London, a lonely young woman, newly married after fleeting courtship with a man considerably older than her, struggles with her PhD thesis on du Maurier in the Brontes. Oh my God, is this a book written for me or what? Her husband, still seemingly enthralled to his brilliant, charismatic first wife, is frequently distant and mysterious. So there's a kind of Rebecca-esque narrative running through the second part of this book. Yeah, and it just sounds incredible. I love the premise of this book. So I will report back. I'm doing some Daphne du Maurier Rebecca adjacent reading. So I've got this, and I've also put a reserve on, is it Anne Tyler's new one, The Housekeeper? Thank you, Judy, for recommending that to me. That's coming out in October. And that is a fictionalised reimagining of Danvers having an affair with Daphne du Maurier, which, again, I'm very much here for. So thank you to Judy for recommending that, because I didn't know that was a thing. So I'm very much here for Daphne du Maurier adjacent reading. So I was well pleased to pick this up for only £2.50, because it has got a lot of mottling on the edges, but that doesn't bother me. Okay, so they are all the books that I got from Hay-on-Wye and Brecon. Had a lovely time on holiday there. Climbed a very small mountain, not Pennyfan. I climbed Fan Frennock, which is the one that looks over Pennyfan, and that seems better to me because it's less steep and you get the beautiful view of Pennyfan in front of you. So I would highly recommend the walk up Fan Frennock. Also feel very, I have to be very careful saying those words. Anyway, those are the books that I bought, but I also want to show you some notebooks that I bought because I'm a notebook obsessive, and I picked up some beautiful notebooks. In Hay-on-Wye, there is a shop called, the shop is called A Shop Called Alice, and it's all about Alice in Wonderland. So it has lots of beautiful editions of Alice in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass and adjacent titles, books about Lewis Carroll, some academic titles, and lots of Alice in Wonderland stuff. And I bought this beautiful little set of mini notebooks, 3 notebooks for £6, and it has the White Rabbit, Alice and the Cheshire Cat, and the Caterpillar, who I always want to call Alan Rickman because he voiced the Caterpillar in the film. So these are very cute, and they're lined notebooks, and I love a pocket notebook. I'm having a lovely time using pocket notebooks at the moment, and these are perfect size. There is also in Hay-on-Wye the most beautiful stationery shop that I think is called Bartram's, and that sells notebooks and a beautiful array of pens, including fountain pens and inks. It's great for inks, and I bought this little set of field notes. This is the Fall Flowers edition. Again, the lined ones. So you've got 3 different designs in this pack, and I've had my eye on these for a while. I do love a field notes, again, for their size, and I just think they're great little notebooks, so wanted to pick these up. And then when we were in Brecon, we called into the library, which is library, museum, and like a little art gallery. And so we had a look around the art gallery and the museum, and I would highly recommend that. It's a great place to visit if you're in Brecon. And they had in the library these notebooks for sale, and they are A5. They've got an elastic clasp and they are lined, and I really enjoy the quality of this paper. It feels like a nice thick paper. and it has the most beautiful quote on it. It's got a line in Welsh, and then the English translation is, "In each book, all art, worlds lie asleep. Come, wake a world." Oh, how stunning is that? So I got this and the matching pen because I love me some stationery. Okay, so that is my entire haul from Hay-on-Wye books and notebooks. I hope you enjoyed this video. I had a lovely time in Wales. I'm missing it already, would very much like to go back, and I'm planning to go back for my birthday. So, oh, one thing I do want to tell you about is my current read I picked up, got it from the library. It's a Welsh folk horror. I'm kind of abandoning summer books now, guys, because I'm done with the summer and I'm done with Heatwave and I just want to go into autumn. So I picked up The Hill in the Dark Grove by Liam Higginson, which is a very Welsh folk horror, and it started very well. I'm only 70 pages in, and so far the writing is top notch and the vibes are immaculate. So I'll report back on this later, but I had a great time starting to read this when I was in Wales, creeping myself out. I'll be back soon with an autumn TBR, which I'm very much looking forward to filming, and something else that I have forgotten. I will see you all very soon in another video. I hope you're all doing well. Talk to me in the comments below if you have read any of the books that I have mentioned. I know some of them are academic and a bit obscure, or if you have any current personal curriculum things that you want to learn about. Also tell me about those. I'm very invested into hearing what other people are interested in at the moment. I go through these obsessions and I love it. I love hearing about what everyone else is learning about. So do talk to me in the comments below, and I will see you very soon in another video. Bye everyone.